there, welcome to the Sims channel. My name is Tanya and I'm a mommy and a lifestyle YouTuber. Welcome to this video. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips that you need if you're going to be giving birth in a public hospital. So as you guys know, I gave birth in a public hospital 21 months ago, and I wish I knew some of the things that I'm going to tell you right now. I was actually very lucky that I was well prepared. I had a doctor that got me really prepared. She gave me a few tips. She told me what to bring, but they always give you certain things. They always give you a list that helps you know what you need to do and what. So my very first tip number 1 is bring very comfortable PJs that you can nurse in, right? So everybody knows that government hospitals supplies food and linen, right? They don't allow you to bring your own sheets or your own bedding and things like that. They use the hospital linen. But what you can bring is your own pajamas. You don't have to wear their linen. You don't have to wear their pajamas the whole time. You don't have to wear that. So after you give birth, you have to wear something that is easier for them to handle certain things, to be able to do certain things like take your blood pressure and do certain things. And you also have to be able to wear pajamas that are comfortable but you can nurse in. Special requests: remember, if you want, for example, your birth partner to be involved on the day that you give birth, you have to request this in time with the doctor that you finalize everything with, because you remember, you see nurses up to a certain point and then you see a doctor. You have to request for your birth partner to be available then. They cannot just show up on the day. You understand? They cannot just show up on the day. Whether it's natural or whether it's a C-section, it has to be scheduled. You have to put in a special request for that to happen. Otherwise, they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to just show up, and you would probably think that the hospital is being unfair, but then you forget the fact that you did not put in the request, so there's nothing that they can do about it on that day. Bring very few things, okay? This is why you are responsible for everything that you have. You are responsible for all your goods, not the nurses, not the security guard. Yes, there's a security guard somewhere at the door, but you can also steal from each other as mummies in a ward. That's how bad it gets. So you are responsible for your own things, and because of that, the less things you bring, you are less likely to have your things stolen from you, because you can recall everything that's in your drawer. But if you have more things, when something goes missing, you can't really see it. But also at the same time, if you are tired, you're a tired mommy, you just gave birth, the last thing you want is to have to be looking through your drawers every single time to check if anything is missing, or you keep an eye open, you can't really sleep peacefully. You want to rest, you want to sleep. Whenever baby sleeps, you want to sleep, so you don't have time to be checking all your belongings. So the less things you bring, the better. If you are staying longer in the hospital, whoever is coming to visit you can always bring you a change of things. So if it's clothes, as soon as you're starting to run out of, let's say, the 3 clothes that you brought, you can always ask them to bring you something else, something to change. Transparency and information. This, guys, is very, 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 very important. You have every right to transparency. You have every right to information. With this said, what I mean by transparency is, whenever somebody, a nurse or a doctor, is coming to check up on you or your baby, you have every right to ask them for their name tag. You need to know who's doing what to you, who's doing what to your baby, who's giving you what medicines, because it doesn't make sense for a nurse to come, give you some certain medication, and you don't ask anything about the medication. You take it, or the baby takes it, and you react. And then the doctor comes in and says, okay, who gave you this and this? And then you go, oh, it's the nurse with the weave, or it's the nurse with the twist, or the nurse with the natural hair. And at that time, there's probably 3 or 4 of them with weaves or natural hair, or whatever kind of description that you just gave. So that doesn't count. You need to know the names. I know it's hard to remember, but always go in with like a little notebook or something. You don't have to show the nurses that you're taking down every single bit of information, but you can do that on your own. Whenever the nurse moves from your area, then you write down the name, you write down what they gave your child. You have every single right to ask what they're giving your child. I remember when I was giving birth, nobody touched my child without a name tag. I wanted to know who you are, and nobody gave my child any type of medication. Nobody took you know that thing, I forgot what it's called, but whenever they come to check on your child and they kind of pierce the bottom of their foot, they were checking for what sugar, whatever, glucose, yeah. I never allowed them to do that without a name tag. And every time they did that, I had to be present. If I've gone to the toilet, you don't do that to my child when I'm absent. You understand? You have to do another mom, wait for me to get back, and then you come back and do that. You don't handle my child in my absence. That's basically how I was. And you have every right to that. And if you need help from the nurses, you obviously ask for the help, which sometimes they don't give you in the public hospitals, but it makes us strong. A list of essentials for baby. So usually the public hospitals, the nurses in the clinic will give you a list of things you need to bring for the baby. For example, blankets, clothes, cotton wool, surgical spirits, disposable nappies, and your own sanitary pads. So for things like clothes, I really suggest that you don't bring a lot of things. You bring a couple of hats, a couple of stockings. The baby's not going to move around, so it's not going to get dirty like that. That depends also on how long you're going to be there. But with that said, even if you're going to be there longer, you can always ask your partner or your parents or whoever is coming to see you to bring you more stuff. So you change it around. It's better to not have everything there than just have a couple of things. I preferred onesies. If you have onesies, those work well. Rather than having a top and a bottom, now you have many things. If you can grab like 5 onesies, you know your baby can change into these things, and you have hats, maybe 3 hats, 3 pairs of socks, and that's about it. And then you can have like your 2 or 3 blankets depending on you. Maybe you can have a receiving blanket, 2 receiving blankets and 2 actual blankets. It depends also on the season that you gave birth in. If it's winter, obviously you're gonna need bigger blankets. You're gonna need maybe 2 or 3 blankets, things like that. That all depends on the season that you gave birth in. But I definitely insist that when it comes to clothes, bring as little as possible. And then you have the issue of cotton wool or cotton wool and surgical spirits. The hospital does provide this if you don't have, but I was advised to bring my own simply because when the hospital gives you, the nurses brings it in one pile, so now you have to wait for other mummies to do. Now all of you are just clustered in one area trying to get this done, trying to get a piece of cotton wool, trying to get the surgical spirit. Now you have to wait your turn till somebody's finished. But if you have your own, I mean, surgical spirit is not that expensive. It's a little bottle, I think it's less than 30 rands, and cotton wool just the same. You don't have to use the whole blob at the first. You can just keep snipping it into little bits, because all you're doing is cleaning the umbilical cord, the navel. I mean, all you're doing is cleaning the navel. Surgical spirit and cotton wool, I would really advise you to get those things for yourself before you even go in, and let that be in your hospital bag. Then the issue of nappies. If you really cannot afford nappies, then it's a different story. But when you get pregnant, you know at some point you're gonna need nappies. I suggest that it's actually better you go with your own nappies, your own it's number 1 nappies, I believe so. And the hospital does provide. But I realized that when I was at the hospital, I remember seeing other kids that were reacting to some nappies. I saw some of the nappies looked like plastic, because I remember they gave all of us nappies at some point, and there was also other groups of people that came to congratulate us on giving birth, and they gave us different nappies. And I noticed that at some point I was like, okay, I'm gonna save my nappies. Let me use this. And I put them on my baby, and I realized she started having this rash because the nappy had sort of like a plastic layer. So I guess with that, when there's like urine and then there's friction, the baby gets a rash. And instead of throwing them away, I did give them back to the hospital so they can donate them to any other parent if they are able to use them, because I wasn't. But then I carried on with my own nappies. So now just imagine if you didn't have any nappies at all and your child reacts to the ones that you have there, you're gonna be in trouble. So it's always better to bring your own things. Start small. Buy. What I like about the nappies is you get the number 1, you get a very small bag. So then if you use Huggies and you realize your child is not working well with Huggies, you can always change it whenever you go back to buy. You can buy now, try Nappies, try whatever other brands that there are there. I mean, try Pampers, and then you can try whatever other brands that are there. And then the issue of sanitary pads. This issue is very, very important, you guys. I remember when I went in, I knew I was going to give birth by a C-section, and they did tell me yes as well, that I would also experience bleeding. So everybody knows after you give birth, you're going to be bleeding. You're going to bleed. Bring your own set of sanitary pads. It is very, very vital. It's very, very important. Why I'm saying this is because I went in with my own pads. When I was at the hospital, I realized, I saw the first day I was there, after giving birth, they were giving the ladies sanitary pads. There were sanitary pads in the bathrooms, so everybody had access to them. And at the end of the day, like on the second day, I noticed that they were not there anymore. And now there was blood all over. There's blood on the toilet seats. Now the rest of us cannot use the bathrooms easily, because when someone goes and they just gush all the blood on the toilet floor or on the toilet seat itself, and there isn't really, we all know in government hospitals the cleaning is really bad sometimes, especially on those kind of wards. But if those ladies had just brought their own sanitary towels, they would have been a little bit less stressed, because I wasn't stressed at all, because I knew I had my own pads. And now the problem now became, I couldn't watch all those ladies suffering without pads. That meant I had to share mine, and in my sharing mine, I bleed a lot. Now I'm running out. Now I have to keep going to my husband, you know what, I need more pads, please bring me more pads. And at some point it starts getting irritating to always have to share your pads with people that know they have to buy pads. Like, I mean, you get situations, and you guys, you need, if you're going to give birth in a public hospital, you need to stop feeling sorry for each and every person, because I kept feeling sorry for people who couldn't afford pads. Some of them genuinely could not afford pads because all they ate was hospital food, right? But then there were certain individuals that would be like, oh, I can't afford the pads, that's why I was gonna use the hospital pads. And then this person is eating takeaways every single time. So breakfast they're eating takeaways, lunch they're eating takeaways, dinner they're eating takeaways. They're having people bringing them food and whatever. So if your family can bring you snacks and all of that stuff, what's stopping you from asking your family to bring you pads? Why do you have to take pads from other people when you can get your family to get you pads? But anyway, that's not the point. Get yourself pads. Get yourself sanitary pads if you're going to give birth. It will save you a lot of stress. Anyway, this is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I hope you have subscribed at the end of this video if you enjoyed it. And if you have not subscribed, please do click that subscribe button, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. See you in the next one.